Take 93. Hi all, F here from Epic Rides and Tours. Gonna have a chat about Swampy's exhaust system. When we first got Swampy, she had many what might loosely be called features, one of which was a homemade 2-into-1 exhaust which ran to a Husqvarna muffler fitted to the front of the sidecar. Now, said muffler had no baffles. She sounded all right, but I just wasn't happy with performance. And the muffler began to split anyway, so I took the bit between my teeth and got an OEM system. After about 3 hours, I finally had the system on the bike and working. That 3 hours included cutting up the old system and getting it into the recycling bin. That was fun, I can tell you. I was tired. It'd been a long day, and the 3 hours were set at the end of the day. By the time I finished, it was about 9:30 at night. And when I looked at it, the mufflers were pointing in odd directions. They weren't on a level with one another. It looked goofy as. Anyway, I just recently took the opportunity, because I was doing other stuff, to reset the system and get those mufflers looking right. Okay, centre stand. It took me a couple of months to realise, and I'm positive that I'm not that different. So I'm imagining that somebody else out there hasn't yet seen the centre stand on a Ural. I found it on Dusty first, and so I obviously had a look at Swampy, and yep, they have identical centre stands. This one looks like a homemade job, doesn't it? Yeah. But I understand that it's either the 22 or the 23 models have a more conventional looking side stand. So anyway, you'll notice that putting the side stand lifts the rear tyre a couple of inches. That's 5 centimetres or so for those of you who've never been unmetricated. So it's a couple of inches off the ground. I also tend to chock the front wheel just in case. Then there's the cardboard. Yep, all those cardboard boxes that stuff comes in when you order gear off of the internet. They're all useful. Flatten them out, put them down onto your garage floor, duct tape them together. And yes, thanks, Beffy. Never work with animals, children, or wives.
Watch it.
She's in the kitchen, ladies and gentlemen, and she was waving a very large, sharp knife just now, so I've got to be careful. Anyway, the cardboard is duct taped together. It's duct taped around the edges to the floor of the garage, so the whole lot doesn't just shift about when you walk or ride over it. It's got a lot of advantages. One, it's not as cold as concrete when you're laying on the floor. Two, it's not as hard as concrete. Three, it catches those little oil spills that you might accidentally create when you're working on the bike. It also identifies oil leaks on the bike, and so doing, it keeps the garage floor from getting that lovely black stain that you just can't shift on the concrete. And as in, when I was changing the back wheel, I was able to get into places that were a little bit difficult to reach when cleaning the bike, so I had the opportunity to clean them. The bike at the time was up on stands, and I just got a handbrush bucket full of truck wash and water, and of course there's plenty of splashing but the cardboard just sort of soaked it all up. Um, it's a great idea, I think. I should be awarded a medal. Just there by the brake pedal, you can see a section of the exhaust which has two clamps on it. You need to loosen those up. They hold the catalyzer section, which is only very short, in place, as well as stopping it from leaking fumes. The catalyzer section itself isn't dead straight. It's got a slight curve in it, so it doesn't take much to imagine that by turning that, it alters where the muffler points to. Now, the muffler itself is an eccentric sort of shape, and that also has a part to play. And it should be obvious to anyone with a pair of eyes that the clamp there underneath the pillion foot peg is bolted to the same bracket that the foot peg hangs off. The one thing that you don't realise until you actually do it is that even getting that nut and bolt ready to fall off by loosening them, the clamp still grips hold of the muffler. So what I did was jam a flat blade screwdriver between the two projections at the top of the clamp to separate it enough that the muffler can be turned by hand. And another problem which reared its ugly head after I put the new exhaust system on was that even though it felt solid, the flange on the header pipe where it attaches to the cylinder head, which you can see here in the photo, it wasn't quite sitting flush, and after a few hundred k's it started blowing because it destroyed the gasket. Now, no matter what I did, I could not get that to seat properly by any conventional means. And this is a typical Ural thing. I took a rubber mallet to the header pipe and whacked it until the flange sat square on the cylinder head. I then found that I could quite easily tighten up both nuts on that flange and get a good seal. Now, having done that, I had reason to chat to young Matt. He'll like hearing the word young. Up at Ural HQ up the mountain. And while I was talking to him, I told him about this, and he said, "Yeah, that's about right. No problem." Right, to state the bleeding obvious, once you've got everything lined up the way you like it, don't forget to tighten up the various clamps and start the engine, and very carefully hold your hand above and or below those joints in the pipework, including the one at the cylinder head end. You should feel a puff of air onto your hand if there's a leak. Please, I can't emphasise this more. Don't touch the flipping thing while the engine's going. It actually heats up really, really fast. And yeah, I did. I can't remember which finger it was now, but I managed to put a blister on one of my fingers just literally seconds after the engine had started. So please watch what you're doing. Don't be an idiot. And the last word is I'm not a qualified mechanic. I grew up in a generation where everybody worked on their cars and bikes. Most weekends you could see a crowd of mates out front of a house with a car in various bits and pieces, or a bike in the same situation, and they'd all work together on it, get the car going. Brilliant. Go down the off licence, as they were called, where I come from, botlos in Australia. A carton would be bought in, or a crate, and after washing hands, everyone would then sit down in front of the telly with a couple of beers and watch the soccer on the telly. But those days are gone now. Most vehicle manufacturers make something so flipping complicated that your average person just has no chance of figuring problems out, let alone fixing them. Urals are pretty damn flipping good for that. You can do most of the jobs without too much trouble. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, you've got something out of it, my job is done. But please, oh Buster, boy, it's a peewit, Buster. I keep telling you, don't work with animals and children. Anyway, if you do like the video, if you got something from it, and there goes the missus. Oh, yeah, never mind. If you got something from it, please hit the subscribe button, click the like, and share, please. We do like our videos to get to as many people as possible. Meanwhile, thanks for watching, thanks for staying, and see you next time.